DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us today on DocTalk. Dr. Wade Nichols is going to be with us. We're going to talk about deworming programs, cows, pasture, and probably something else, but that's up to Dr. Nichols as we bring this to you. Thanks for watching DocTalk today. We're glad that you joined us. Hey there, it's time to take control and protect your herd. DocTalk is teaming up with Merck Animal Health to help control parasites in your cattle. Right now, when you buy a Safeguard liter or a Safeguard gallon from valleyvet.com, you'll receive a free drench kit. It's a $29.95 value. Just use the promo code DocTalk at checkout. Hurry, the offer is limited to one per customer while the supplies last. Take charge with Safeguard, and we'll see you down the road. Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. I'm here with my friend and my colleague, Dr. Wade Nichols. He is a senior technical services nutritionist at Merck Animal Health, and you've been with them pretty much for the long haul, haven't you?
Yeah, 34 years.
It's amazing. He started when he was 5.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
But
I knew Dan when he was 6. So.
That's right. And we have known each other and worked with each other for 30 years, and it's fantastic. And get to talk today about parasites and cows and deworming programs, but they rob us.
They rob us. So I want to know, on this subject, am I talking to Dr. Veterinarian or Dr. Nutritionist?
Well,
because,
it depends.
Depends. Well, that's what they all say. But a lot of people take this subject as being a veterinary problem.
Yep.
But I maintain it's more of a nutrition problem than a veterinary problem. So
Well,
you get to wear both hats.
I'm gonna, now that I know who I get to blame.
There you go.
That I would agree with you, but kind of elaborate on that. Let's talk about the problems in parasites.
So parasites, the definition is an organism that's detrimental to the host.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get rid of them. There's no real good reason to have a parasite, and we can talk about some of the things that are going on in the industry later if you like to. But,
yeah.
So that little parasite, he doesn't eat a lot, but the things that he does in the lumen of the intestine is very detrimental, causing an increase in inflammation. It decreases absorption across the gut wall. When they're in the abomasum, it decreases digestion, decreases enzyme production and things in the small intestine. So everything that animal is consuming, that parasite is robbing them in terms of what is actually being digested and what's absorbed across the gut wall. And a lot of that's just going out the back end. So it is, to me, a nutritional problem, because what I put, if I got a cow on pasture and I'm thinking she should be performing at X, but that parasite's robbing of all those nutrients, then she's got to eat 1.5 times or whatever, to get back to her production. If I'm looking at a calf and he's supposed to be gaining X, but those parasites are robbing the nutrition that's going out the back end, I'm not getting what I think I should have gotten.
Yeah, and then the whether it's whatever it is we're trying to get them to produce, it's just an anchor that's dragging them backwards, that isn't allowing them to do the things, whether it's stay healthy, produce milk, put on
weight.
pounds of
exactly
performance.
Right. And I've been doing this 34 years, and I don't know how many trials I've conducted, but they're all, for the most part, positive. We have, every now and then, I don't care what product you use, there's been one product that never lost, but
You know what that is.
yeah, you know what that
Implants.
is. Well, Zilmax.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, 90% of the trials are positive in terms of increasing production. So like on the cow side, 7 trials over 3 different states showed a 10% improvement in breeding back. 17 trials on weaned calves showed a 35-pound response. 22 trials on pasture cattle showed another 35-pound response. So it's all positive in terms of what we're doing and trying to get these things to perform to the place that we think they should, and not having that big anchor dragging them back.
It's awesome. It's a great place for us to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more with Dr. Wade Nichols on parasites, cows, and prevention. You're watching DocTalk.
Hello there, Dr. Nick Wagner, Professional Services Veterinarian with Neogen, and today I wanted to talk about what it entails to select the proper chemistry from a disinfectant standpoint. So one of the first things you want to make sure that you're doing is selecting an EPA registered product. You want to look at the active ingredients, and some of the common classes of disinfectants that are out there are quaternary ammonias, phenols or phenolics, oxidizing compounds, a special segment of oxidizing compounds, the halogens, the aldehydes, acids, and alcohols are some of the common chemistry classes that are out there. But what it comes down to is look at the active ingredient. You also then want to look at efficacy, because you want a disinfectant that's broad spectrum, that's going to take care of all the pathogens of concern for your operation. Then you want to look at, okay, what's the dilution rate for the product? What's the contact time for that product? How does that product hold up with regard to organic load or water hardness? And then one of the other big things is making sure you understand the safety profile of the product and the necessary personal protective equipment for your personnel when they're applying the product. And then the last thing is economics does factor into those decisions as well. But really what it boils down to is you want to be able to ensure that you're using a product that's going to be efficacious against all the pathogens of concern, but yet is safe from the standpoint of your personnel applying it and being able to mitigate those concerns for your operation.
Thanks for watching Cattle Intel by Neogen.
Are you a cattle feeder looking to manage for a stronger and more profitable set of cattle? Look no further than Igenity Feeder. Igenity Feeder utilizes DNA to gain insight into your cattle's genomic potential, with the information to predict performance, quality, and economic endpoints for cattle feeders. Animals are scored and ranked in a simple format, driving more precise and accurate management decisions. Igenity Feeder gives you the power to predict days on feed, manage variability within lots, characterize carcass performance, and focus on metrics important to you and your operation. With the data provided, you will identify superior animals earlier and maintain high operational efficiency. Maximize your profit and optimize performance with Igenity Feeder.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed LidoBand, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. LidoBand, a small device that can make a big difference.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Wade Nichols. He is a Senior Technical Services Nutritionist for Merck Animal Health. Great friend. We've worked together for a long time, and we're talking about parasites, cows, treatment. And, you know, as we exited, you were going through some of these trials. And you've done 20, 30 studies on, this is all on parasite and treating animals for parasites or preventing parasites, right?
To improve production responses. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So let's do a little deeper dive, because you were talking about, you know, cow body score, rebreeding, all the different economic traits that rancher has to be taking a look at to make sure that we're going to be profitable in year over year. Where do we start?
So if you're talking to a cow-calf guy,
Yep.
everyone, what is one of their biggest concerns in terms of my cows? And it's always, are my cows in good enough condition?
Yep.
Can they be in good enough condition to rebreed? Are they going to be able to milk? You know, those kind of things. So when we do those studies and we're looking at breeding back, you know, we'll have a set that we don't deworm, and then we'll have a set that we deworm. And then we'll measure, you know, the difference in conception rates. And that average is 10%. So when I talk to a cow-calf guy and, you know, he said, man, what do you think of my cows? How do they look? I say, well, they look pretty good, but let's talk about parasitism and getting rid of those parasites. So what you're doing is going to the cow and not to the parasite itself. Yep. And you know, that resonates with a cow-calf guy. Oh man, yeah, if something's robbing me, I don't think my cows are looking like they should, then that's a way that we can help improve his performance on his cow. And then once we get to the weaning weight, so that cow's going to milk like she should, and that's the driver of weaning weight. Yep. And so I got cows that are breeding back. I got cows that are now producing milk, so I'm getting an improvement in my weaning weight as well. Yep. So on the cow-calf side, it's a pretty easy model to be able to use. So go ahead.
Well, if you don't, it's like just throwing away your hay pile.
Yes. Parts of it.
Mm-hmm. You know, because then it's the efficiency of being able to convert that hay. And, you know, there's years that forage is tight and you're getting to the nitty gritty and we got to be able to maintain out of that. But what are some of the, you know, like if you're going to say, what are some of the expected responses that you see? You know, we've talked about, you know, how many dollars we leave on the table for each component of practice. What do you see on this?
So if we get 35 pounds of weaning weight over 17 trials, what were we talking about before? I mean,
that's $105.
Yeah, $105. And then you're talking about your hay pile. So if I'm having to feed more hay to get that cow in condition, you know, what's hay today? $200 and some dollars a ton. So now I've got to feed more hay to get her to that condition because the parasites are robbing her. Yep. So, you know, those things all add together on the cow-calf side. What I do to my cows, weaning weight I get with my calves, it's all additive.
Yep. And I'll put my veterinary hat on. Mm-hmm. It's inflammatory. We get secondary infections. Mm-hmm. We get so many things that we had no idea because we have a shrunk immune system. And you just don't want to have parasites in your cows.
No, you don't want parasites in cows. And it does affect the immune system. You know, you think about what the immune system requires in terms of protein and energy and things, you know. And if the parasites are robbing that, then my immune system isn't as active as it should be.
It's kaput. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Dr. Wade Nichols. Hey there, it's time to take control and protect your herd. DocTalk is teaming up with Merck Animal Health to help control parasites in your cattle. Right now, when you buy a Safeguard liter or a Safeguard gallon from valleyvet.com, you'll receive a free drench kit. It's a $29.95 value. Just use the promo code DocTalk at checkout. Hurry, the offer is limited to one per customer while the supplies last. Take charge with Safeguard, and we'll see you down the road.
I'm Jeremy McBride. I manage the ranch for Wilmoths here in Southwest Missouri. Probably the biggest challenges in Southwest Missouri is the weather. That's where the therapies has helped us. The last day we got through weaning, it was 65 degrees and sunshine, and the very next day it dropped to 35 degrees, rained 2.5 inches, which is very, very hard on these cattle. And we doctored 2 heads.
One animal has this huge impact on your operation.
BVDV is one of the most costly bovine diseases, with losses of $15 to $88 per head.
The virus will actually cross the placenta and get into the fetus. As it's developing, its immune system will recognize that virus as it's supposed to be here. And so then that's where our persistently infected animals come from. They're going to shed that virus their entire life, and then it's going to impact your operation.
It is important to work with your local veterinarian and partner with IDEXX for the best solution for your operation.
We see you, working hard from the early mornings to the late nights and every hour in between. We see you. We see the pursuit, the desire, the effort, the hope, the goal of being a champion. And we see that you need a partner to keep your animals healthy and happy. With our countless products and quick and reliable shipping, together, we can do just that. To the cowboys and cowgirls, to the dreamers, we see you.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson, Dr. Wade Nichols. Wade is a senior technical services nutritionist for Merck Animal Health. I guarantee if you're in the beef industry and you've gone to beef meetings, you've seen him at a meeting or you've seen him present at a meeting, because he has just given so much to our industry. And the research that he's done through his career has been second to none. And
thank you.
You bet. Well, I mean it.
No, thanks. That's one of the biggest compliments I've ever received. So
it's earned. So when we talk about the parasite programs, we definitely use one, but now we're even seeing that a second, using two together is beneficial.
Yes, sir. So it used to, like the trials we talked about before, usually that would be like a not deworming anything versus deworming the cow herd or whatever, going to stockers. But we've evolved to where now we're looking at not just using a product like Safeguard by itself. We'll put a ivermectin or a milbomycin or something with it. And it does two things. So one, there is some to the macrolactones. There is some resistant issues going on with those, and that's probably due to overuse of porons. Right. Over the past. And porons were great. It was easy to use, but we probably overused them and we'd underdosed and did a lot of things. So I could tell you some horror stories about different things. So, but that's probably what caused the resistance. So now we're trying to put things like Safeguard together with the mycocytic lactone. So we get the best of both worlds. So like Safeguard's limiting parasite is the brown stomach worm, Ostertavia. The macrolactone's limiting parasite is Cuperia. So now I can put the best of both of those together and get a cleaner kill throughout. And in my opinion, that helps reduce any reduction you might see in resistance with those parasites.
And I've heard it described that by using two together, there's kind of a biphasic killing. One's getting to the gut fast and the other one's coming, second. And if we want to increase the time to resistance on a farm, using two delays it even that much more, right?
Yes, it delays. And in my opinion, it really gives the animal a chance to respond, but also for that organism to be resistant to two different compounds is exponentially more difficult than being resistant to one compound.
Right.
So I get two of them, I'm getting a kill this way and a kill this way. With the benzimidazole, like Safeguard, it's quick, 24 hours, and we get a clean kill. With the macrolactones, it's a 2-week process in killing. So that's your biphasic you're talking about. We got quick and we got later, and we get a clean kill. Now, don't think you're going to get 100% on anything, because the FDA says we got to have a 90% kill to get approval. If FDA required each anthelmintic to have 100% kill of parasites, we would not have an anthelmintic on the market.
That's a good point.
But when you put the two together, we get a cleaner kill and all that. So.
It's good. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with Dr. Wade Nichols talking about parasites, cows, and much more. Thanks for joining us.
They're here, they're hungry, and they can't be stopped with ivermectin. Choose Safeguard when you deworm your cattle to take out resistant parasites like brown stomach worm, Cuperia, Nematodirus, and others. With Safeguard's efficacy, you can kill more resistant worms in your cattle, so you don't leave potential on the table. Consult your veterinarian for the diagnosis and treatment of parasitism. Then bite back at safeguardworks.com.
When it comes to treating BRD, you want a product that you can count on to get the job done at an affordable price. Macrocin by Bimeda delivers on both. A straight shooting, no BS tulathromycin that does what it's supposed to do. End of story. You don't need to take our word for it, though. Go to macrosin.com for customer testimonials and head-to-head trial results. For your cattle and your bottom line, choose Macrosin.
Hey folks, for your firearm and ammo needs, for gun safes and much, much more, and to have it personalized, come visit us at United Patriot Supply outside of Seneca, Kansas. You can also visit us online at unitedpatriotsupply.com. Be sure to say that Dr. Dan and DocTalk sent you, and we'll see you down the road.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Wade Nichols. He's a senior technical services nutritionist for Merck Animal Health. Been a colleague and friend for 3 decades. We've worked together. Recently, you've done some work where you've gone in and looked at the number of parasites and measured exactly what's going on. And could you help just kind of share with us what you all found?
Sure. So we left off that FDA only requires a 90% kill of parasites in the lumen. Because if we had to do 100%, we would never get anything approved. So our latest trial we conducted in Idaho was on stalkers. And we also talked a little bit about how we did things in the past, nothing versus deworming. So everybody we go to now says, okay, what happens then if I use the concomitant? Do I still need to strategically deworm in the summer, which means that I can deworm at 4 weeks and 8 weeks through non-handling forms? So we can use blocks, we can use mineral, we can use flake meal, we can use pellets. We don't have to bring the cattle back to work them. We can do it on pasture. So we devised a trial where they got Safeguard and Cydectin Poron, both treatments, and then the second treatment was dewormed on pasture at 4 and 8 weeks through the using the pellets. So
actually applying it to the animals, versus getting it in the pellet out on the range.
Correct.
Okay.
So but processing, they both got Safeguard and Cydectin Poron, and then the second treatment we gave them the pellets on the range.
Gotcha.
Up there.
Yep.
And the other aspect of this study is that we harvested 6 animals prior to the study and actually enumerated parasite load within the animal.
Gotcha.
And then at the end of the study, we randomly chose 3 from each treatment and enumerated parasites out of those. And what we found was, so we got an 18-pound response by strategically deworming, which pretty normal, we'll usually always see. The other thing was that parasites were reduced by 90% in the lumen of the gut versus the ones that hadn't been dewormed. Fecal egg counts went down after each treatment, which we would have expected. And then we also enumerated larvae on the pasture because the pasture is where 90% of the parasites reside. So we enumerated larvae on the pasture. It just means you throw a hoop out there and you clip the grass and then you start counting larvae. So and we found that there was a 61 and a 33% reduction in larvae on the pasture. So we not only reduce parasites in the animal, we reduce parasites on the pasture, which means that those cattle the next time are going to have less access to grazing the larvae and picking up more parasites. So we cleaned up the cattle, we're cleaning up the pasture, and all that is positive to the
it's really important. We have some people that receive calves, put them on the same pasture until they get a pen full, then they'll work them. And so deworming as they go to that grass trap is probably pretty dang important for the next group that's coming in.
Because then they have less chance to pick up that larva. So in the animal, the parasite lays an egg and then it goes out and is put on the pasture, that egg, and then it actually is what hatches, and it crawls up the grass stem, and then that animal comes and grazes it, and that's what causes the perpetuation of the parasitism. So we got to clean up the animal, you got to clean up the pasture, and by doing both of them, you increase your production.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
It is a pleasure. Thank you for watching DocTalk. Remember, if you want to find us on the web, www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian and nutritionist.
Thank you.
You've got it. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson with Dr. Wade Nichols, and we'll see you down the road.
At Merck Animal Health, we support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Time is money on the farm, and your cows are less productive when they're stressed. The Alertus on-farm test from IDEX allows you to quickly test cowside and identify open or pregnant cows within minutes on your schedule in the parlor, barn, or chute. It's more efficient for your farm, very simple to use, and puts you in control. With minimal training and reliable, fast results, sample-based pregnancy testing is better for beef and dairy producers. Learn more at idex.com/DocTalk.
Success in the cattle business hinges on a lot of different people playing their part. From the vet to the cowboy and the nutritionist to the feed truck driver, you rely on them to get their job done right, and so do your cattle. Your expectations for the vaccines you use should be no different. Bimeta's cattle vaccines were developed and are made and sold by men and women in the cattle business. No smoke and mirrors, just real-world protection that you can rely on. Go to BimetaBiologicals.com to learn more.